My big problem with America's left wing is informed by three major reasons. Firstly, they seem to prioritize the working class over the working class. I somewhat experienced this firsthand way back in 2008. At the time, I was a young reporter and board member of a left-leaning US radio station. This was a great radio station that worked with reporters from across the world and paid them well. I salute them for that. I was the representative of reporters on the board. In May 2008, my father fell ill, and being broke at the time, I turned to two people for help. Valentine, a US-based Amazonian activist, and a fellow board member at the radio station. Valentine quickly helped me with no conditions. The board member, however, asked for details about my father's treatment and insisted on sending a check, despite my explanation that it would take weeks to clear an international check. When she pressed further, unfortunately I lied, saying that the doctor would be unavailable later, though the real issue was that my father needed urgent care. She called the doctor's office and found out that I had lied. She then demanded that I resign immediately from the board. Although I refused and the matter ended there, things were never the same after that. I became an unworthy member of the board. The US left wing demands purity. If you don't live up to their version of 10 commandments, you get kicked out. For instance, if you believe in your heart of hearts that there are only two genders, then you become unworthy of their time or vote. As long as you remain woke, you're okay. Good enough. When Africans don't subscribe to the left-wing positions and cultural norms, then somehow we're backward, uncivilized, intolerant. Yet that very stance shows the intolerance of the US left wing to positions that are not agreeable to them. The second reason why I have a big problem with the US left wing can be summed up in one word: hypocrisy. They claim to be pro-poor and racially diverse, advocating for a big tent where all races and classes can coexist harmoniously. Not true. You have to search long and hard to find US left-wing policies that have genuinely and truly benefited Africa. While I support many left-wing policies, especially those that aim to uplift the disadvantaged in the US, the left must smell the coffee and realize that they are becoming an elitist club, increasingly disconnected from the working class, both in USA and the global South. The third reason why I have a problem with the US left is their inability to engage with African realities. Many on the left seem to think that their ideals should be universally applied and accepted without considering local contexts or cultures. The left often promotes policies and social movements that, while well-meaning, fail to acknowledge or understand the complexities of African societies. For instance, the push for same-sex marriage rights in African nations has been met with significant resistance, but the US left continues to pressurize these countries, ignoring local cultural and religious traditions. While advocating for human rights is important, there is no one-size-fits-all approach. It does not work that way, especially when the social fabric of a society is different. The arrogance with which the US left insists that their values should be adapted globally only alienates those who don't subscribe to those values. In summary, my problem with America's left wing is that they prioritize ideological purity over human complexity. In so doing, they often betray their own principles of inclusivity, and they fail to engage with African realities in a meaningful way.